Hello, I am the Irish guy, and right, a couple of weeks ago, I reacted to a video I made in 2019 where I predicted what the Premier League table would look like in 5 years' time. I said QPR would finish 10th and Chelsea would win the league. What? So today I'm going to predict what the Premier League table will look like in May 2029. And I mean, in 5 years' time, when I look like an old wrinkled baked potato and will no doubt be married to a teddy bear, I'm going to look back at these predictions on my lunch break from cleaning toilets at Asda, of course, and just see how wrong I was. Right, let's go. Oh, by the way, before we get into it, smash that subscribe button if you're new. You absolute bunch of legends. 200,000 subscribers. Almost half of what we built on the previous channel, which must not be named. So to get that here would be an absolute dream. Right, let's go. 20th Hull City. How do Hull fans feel about this one? On one hand, I am suggesting that you'll be back on Match of the Day in 5 years' time, so you can then enjoy the Tigers on the telly, whilst you peer through the window at Curry's, of course. But I am also saying that you will finish last. Is that a good thing? Well, yes. This will mean that Hull City will be back in the Premier League. Just 9 years of being 7-0 down at halftime to Wigan. Yeah, don't think we'd all just forgotten that rotten scoreline in July 2020. Yes, that was back when coughing on grannies was illegal and toilet rolls were so scarce that I had to instead ruin my mother's cardigans for months. Look, I have already seen Hull promoted to the Premier League twice before. This won't look that weird to me. And they're already making high-profile ambitious signings now, like Fabio Carvalho from Liverpool. Someone who's got Cristiano Ronaldo's number in his phone. Seeing him at Hull, it is a bit like seeing some skinny, nervous nerd winning the chance to take a famous pop star on a date. Yeah, jokes on him when he's being forced to share a bowl of soup with Lewis Capaldi, just having to eat it like Lady and the Tramp. But yeah, in 2029, Hull will be relegated on 19 points, with someone like Michael Carrick at the wheel. Yes, a promising young superstar coach tipped to manage Manchester United one day, and he's instead going to be 47 and coaching Hull. It'd be like seeing Eminem having spent his 30s wiping up sick in HMVs. 19th, Watford. Look, I know that Watford have massively stalled over the last couple of years, but face it, the positive ownership group are so hilariously ruthless. If you were a manager at Vicarage Road, you know you're at the risk of the sack, even doing something like forgetting to chew your sandwich in the staff room. Those Godfather-esque owners are so savage and so eager to terminate contracts, they probably stay up till 3 a.m. digging through their new manager's old tweets, just looking for any excuse to get rid. Lads, if they keep up their incredible sack rate over the next 5 years, it will mean that they will have gone through nearly 30 different managers. That is mental. And I've had more managers than I've had hugs from my mum. Then again, to be fair, so have FSG. But yeah, I reckon by 2029, this crazy scattergun approach will have them back in the big time, but absolutely flopping. This will be a season where they go through 3 different managers: Kieran McKenna, Steve Cooper, and Kiki Sanchez Flores. Yes, Flores for a 3rd spell. You think he would learn? I'm going to have no sympathy for the Spaniard when he gets brutally binned after just 5 games. I mean, it's been like continuing to get back with that ex-wife who keeps chucking your clothes out the bedroom window every time you forget to put the cap on the toothpaste. 18th, Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace fans should not be upset that I'm suggesting that you get relegated in 2029. No, you should be snapping my hand off for that. You know what that will mean? It will mean that, you know, when you got promoted to the Premier League in 2013 under Ian Holloway, and were then bottom of the league in November, having embarrassingly lost 9 of your first 10 games, where about 98% of Palace fans thought they were going straight back down. And if you didn't believe that, well then, you were probably strangely looked at down the pub. You might as well have been some middle-aged freak wearing a tinfoil hat, telling the world that Star Wars was real. Well, if my prediction comes true, then it will mean that instead of going straight back down to the first attempt, that Palace will have had to wait 16 seasons before they went down. They thought they'd only have 1 season. They instead get 16? It would be like the creators of Joey being told the show would run 6 seasons longer than Friends. What? So yeah, I think things will improve for Palace in the short term. I reckon they'll get in Graham Potter, have a good few years, but he will leave. And so yeah, by the end of the 28-29 season, all your super talents will be long gone. You'll be left in the rubble with a bunch of bang average meat cakes. Let's put it this way, your captain and star man will be Sean Longstaff, someone who's got the natural star appeal of uncooked frog spawn. And yeah, your manager will be football manager nerd Will Still, who will only be 36 years old and probably still too nervous to kiss a girl. 17th, Portsmouth. Portsmouth fans would absolutely love this reality. Not only might it be known to be Premier League material, but that they will actually survive a relegation battle. Well, yes, I know they're in League One right now, but so Portsmouth, in my head, are a Premier League club. I saw them regularly compete in this division between 2003 and 2010. They've since fallen on massive hard times, back-to-back relegations, administration. Finishing last in League One back in 2013 was grim. Things were so bad back then. The Pompey fans were probably the only ones who were actually praying for the world to end in 2012. Make no mistake, between October 2012 and February 2013, Pompey didn't win a single match in 22 attempts in League One, losing 9 games in a row after Christmas. I don't know how any Portsmouth fan survived that. That was just 5 years after dreaming big and buying Jermaine Defoe from Spurs. Yeah, 5 years down the line, they'd have been too embarrassed to look Defoe in the eye, like a homeless bloke who sees his ex-wife getting a £100 haircut across the street, but he's across the road eating mice with a spoon. There has to be a happy ending for Pompey, and right now they're in a good place. They're almost unrecognisable to the hideous League One joke who finished below Hartlepool and Bury 10 years ago. Top of the league, 18 wins from 31 games. John Massinho is the next super coach. I mean, come on, just replace the H with an S, the N for an E, and the S for an R, and what does that spell? I think he'll still be a Pompey in 5 years' time, cementing himself as a club legend by putting off the Great Escape. 16th Wolves. Look, I said that Wolves would finish bottom of the league this season. Do you reckon I was wrong? Yes, Gary O'Neill could lose every single one of their remaining games, and they still wouldn't finish 20th in the league. And yeah, you know what? I think they will stay up for another bunch of years. I thought this whole Wolves project would completely run out of steam, and it will a little. I mean, 16th is still pretty garbage and uninspiring for a club who were trying to hunt down Champions League qualification a few years ago. But yeah, they'll continue to scour talents from the Portuguese and Spanish leagues, and yeah, we'll have a more experienced manager like Roberto Martinez after he gets sacked from his Portugal job after Euro 2028. 15th Fulham. Look, 5 years is a long time in football, yes, but some clubs just don't move an inch. Some clubs are still in the same position they were in half a decade previously. I mean, back in 2019, Crystal Palace finished 12th with Roy Hodgson at the wheel. 5 years later, they're 3 points off 12th with Roy Hodgson at the wheel. Someone who probably now has to eat his lunch with the nurse pretending the spoon is an aeroplane. And similarly Fulham, I reckon they're gonna stand still. Revisit them in 2029 and there won't be much change. Different players, yes. Different management, yes. They'll have a really boring coach in charge. Someone like Ralph Hasenhüttl, but yeah, blech. Poor Fulham fans, this is probably the most boring prediction, right? This is like being really excited about going into a circus tent to hear some old biddy read your fortune. Yeah, then after 15 seconds of staring at your palm, she tells you that you're gonna grow up to work in a pub and will get married to Fat Michelle, who got fired from Pets at Home for eating bunnies. 14th Leeds United. Look, relax, Leeds fans, okay? Relax. You are in this video. Look, when Leeds were relegated last season, I think everyone probably assumed that that was it. Their time in the Premier League was over for a while. Goodbye, good night. But lads, I think the gap between the Premier League and the Championship is getting wider and wider, proven by the fact that right now, last season's 3 promoted clubs currently make up the bottom 4, whilst last season's 3 relegated clubs make up the Championship top 3. Lads, if there was no Everton points deduction, then the promoted 3 would be in the relegation zone. How boring would it be if Sheffield United, Burnley and Luton are immediately replaced by Leicester, Southampton and Leeds? It'll be a bit like, did this season ever really happen? But yeah, Leeds will be back soon and will be a comfortable mid-table team in 5 years' time. Captained by Calvin Phillips in midfield and with a 43-year-old James Milner as manager. 13th Nottingham Forest. Look, I might have Nottingham Forest sitting a comfortable 13th in the league. But that does not mean I think the next 5 years will be smooth sailing. Absolutely not. I think you will be relegated in between. Like back in 2019, Bournemouth and Burnley were in the league table and they are again in 2024, but there were relegations in between. I think Forest will go down, but due to the sheer ambition of their megalomaniac owner, they will sign enough high-profile players to come back up. 12th, Man City. Look, you might think this is insane, but I am sorry, Man City fans. You've got over 100 charges against you. That hasn't just magically gone away. Look, this prediction might massively backfire. And who knows, by 2029, City could be winning their 9th league title in a row. But look, I think this club are getting punished. They won't be found guilty of everything, no, but surely some of those 100 charges hold weight. There'll be a lot of court appearances and appeals, but through all of the muddiness, I reckon the punishment will be delayed. But yeah, in the summer of 2028, there will be a 4-window transfer ban and a minus 30 points deduction. Things can change. I mean, Juventus won 9 Serie A's in a row and yet finished 7th last season, again with a points deduction. I reckon Guardiola will be long gone, as well as some huge stars like Bernardo Silva, Erling Haaland and Kevin De Bruyne, so there will be a natural drop-off anyway. But I reckon City will have a Guardiola mini disciple at the wheel, like Cesc Fabregas, who I think, like Mikel Arteta, will be a surprisingly brilliant coach. I mean, he's already started his management career at Como in Italy. It will be weird to see him work for Man City, but it was weird to see Arteta and Vieira work at Man City. It doesn't matter that he was an Arsenal hero. They'll still take him. They'll still play the same way under Fabregas. You know, the one modeling Barcelona. They'll still have the same brilliant youth structure set up in place. And so yeah, despite all the ludicrous madness, they'll still stick 80 points on the board. So with that points deduction, then yeah, 12th in the league. But don't worry. Oh, they'll be back in the title race the very next year. 11th Everton. So how will Everton be after their whole points deduction mess? Pretty simple. I think they'll be fine playing in their brand spanking new Riverside spaceship of a ground. I think they'll be competing in their 75th consecutive season in the English top flight. It will mean that Toffee's still going to be relegated since 1951. That is mental. Many people think they're going down this season, but I'm telling you, they won't. They will not, and to prove it, in 5 years' time. If they are not in the Premier League in May 2029, then I will agree to marry a homeless man and live stream it on the internet. Send Aston Villa. Look, Aston Villa are flying high right now, and so will be offended that I've tipped them to finish as low as 10th. Well, lads, relax. Leicester City were flying high 5 years ago, and now they're not even in the same league anymore. Again, pipe down. A lot of this Villa success is down to the genius of Unai Emery. I know this is a club with money, but so what? When Steven Gerrard had access to that checkbook, you were still a rudderless joke shop finishing halfway down the league. I think Emery will be lured away by a monster job soon. I'm going to say Real Madrid when Ancelotti leaves, and the hierarchy will scrabble around, desperately trying to replace him with a manager on his level. But it'll be a bit like when Everton replaced Ancelotti with Rafa Benitez. Yes, he was a huge monster name, a high-profile caliber, but unlike Carlo, was past his best. I think Villa will do the same, replacing Emery with Julian Lopetegui, who will be mediocre beyond belief. Sorry, but 10th, 9th Leicester City. Leicester City are a special club. This is a brilliantly run club who, let's be real, have had one blip since they were relegated to League One in 2008. One. Last season when they finished 18th. But don't forget the season before that, they finished 8th. And before that was 2 5th place finishes in a row. Oh yeah, winning the FA Cup. And now they've stormed to the top of the championship with ease, making absolute cheese hamburgers out of that division. Leicester don't belong in the second tier. No way. It was just a blip year. That was it. This is a bit like a Hollywood actor being wrongly sentenced to prison because they accidentally sneezed on a donut in M&S. In 5 years' time, Leicester will be in a brilliant place. Still coached by Guardiola mini disciple Enzo Maresca, who will be establishing himself as one of the most sought after young coaches in Europe. Honestly, by 2029, Leicester fans are going to feel the same way they felt 10 years earlier when everybody wanted a piece of Brendan Rodgers. They're going to feel like an insecure housewife whose husband looks like Magic Mike. 8th Chelsea. Look, I don't think Chelsea are going anywhere fast. Todd Bowley is the most wretched, oafish, awful owner in the Premier League. The club are chucking around money with no real plan. Yes, it looks ambitious on paper, buying £100 million footballers, but they're not actually worth that much. Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo are £50 million midfielders. Mikhailo Mudryk is worth £30 million tops. Marco Correa is a £15 million left back. Axel Disasi should have costed no more than 25. Nicholas Jackson is worth maybe £18 million. They are still mostly average players, just signed for massive amounts of cash, which is not a good business model. Trapping such horribly average players into 8-year contracts. By 2029, you're going to have collected a bunch of Winston Bogards, players who you worked out are not good enough, but because they're in 8-year contracts worth £200,000 a week, they're going nowhere. By 2029, Chelsea's reserve team is going to look hilarious. A bunch of highly paid mercenaries refusing to leave and just happy to get handsomely paid to train with the kids because of this horrible mess where these Chelsea stars are essentially handcuffing themselves to the canteen radiator. It's going to blow up in Bowley's face as if someone's just sneaked a grenade into his pie. By 2029, their reserve team is going to be filled with Medwake, Washington, Mudryk, Jackson, Ukachukwu, Augusto, Sanchez, Nkunku, Disasi, and Badiashile. Yikes! It's going to be such a mess. And no self-respecting manager is really going to want to take on this cauldron of chaos. It'll be a pasted big name like a 59-year-old Antonio Conte. Trust me, considering the absolute madness of this whole situation, finishing 8th will actually be really good work. 7th, Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth are going to be great. Yes, finishing above Chelsea sounds like a mental prospect, but I believe something is cooking with the cherries. I believe that Andoni Iraola will still be there in 2029. And get this, it'll be their 3rd consecutive season playing European football. Trust me, what Iraola is about to achieve at Bournemouth is going to be absolutely spectacular. 6th, Liverpool. Look, I know that Liverpool fans are going to be looking at this and thinking, what? 6th? 6th? Actual 6th? Yeah, am I missing something? You finished 5th last season, and that was with Jurgen Klopp, arguably the greatest manager in the history of your club, and even still, you only finished 5 points above 6, so this isn't that outlandish and weird. Between 2010 and 2016, Liverpool finished 7th, 6th, 8th, 7th, 6th, and 8th, regularly getting point totals in the mid-50s, early 60s. That was life before Klopp. I mean, Manchester United went from 1st to 7th, just 12 months after Fergie quit. I mean, the game-changing Liverpool signings, which turned them from average into greatness, they'll be gone by 2029, or at least you'd hope so. You'd hope Virgil van Dijk isn't rolling into his 12th season at Anfield at the age of 37. He'll probably instead be getting paid £250,000 a week to play in Qatar. Similarly, Mo Salah will be 36 and probably the face of Al Nassr. Alisson Becker will also be 36. Mistakes would have crept into his game and he'll probably be sold back to Italy via Inter Milan. The Reds have some quality young players, yes, but those three world stars are the big ones. No Klopp, no Van Dijk, no Salah, no Alisson. Wow. It'd be like back in 2013 trying to imagine no Ferguson, no Vidic, no Rooney, no Van Persie. And we all know what happened there. It's not just Klopp leaving. It's their whole structure, their scouting network, their sporting director model. It's a massive, huge upheaval. I don't think Liverpool will get Xabi Alonso either. There's a man who once showed loyalty to the Real Sociedad B team by knocking back a tempting offer from Borussia Mönchengladbach, a team who were in the Champions League. And so if you don't get Alonso, who is the obvious candidate, you really are in trouble. In 2029, yeah, 6th in the league with a massive young manager risk in the dugout, like Ruben Amorim. Yes, a megastar coach in the Portuguese league, yeah, but guess what? So was Villas Boas, 5th West Ham. It might be a surprise to see West Ham so far up the table, but lads, I reckon the Hammers are approaching a glorious golden era. Let's be real. They've done some brilliant stuff over the last couple of seasons, winning a European trophy, but I think they're only scratching the surface of their potential because let's be real, they can do better than Moyes. In 5 years' time, I reckon they'll have either Jose Mourinho or Thomas Tuchel in charge. Trust me, they are going to crack the top 6. 4th, Man United. Look, would Manchester United fans be happy with finishing 4th in 2029? Pretty simple, no. It sounds boring, right? Still no actual title fights? Well, that'll mean that we've gone at least 17 years without a Premier League title. Look, Manchester United will be pretty much where they are now in 5 years. Because they're now where they were 5 years ago. Not much seems to change at Old Trafford. In 5 years' time, yeah, just rolling into 4th with Julian Nagelsmann in charge. Just all a bit meh. 3rd, Newcastle. Newcastle are one of the best run clubs in England. Lads, they finished 4th, 1 year out from relegation scrap. Yes, they're being held back with FFP restrictions now, but with this new blockbuster Adidas deal and the influx of clever young talent, Newcastle are going to be a regular in the top 4. No, I don't think Eddie Howe will still be there. I think he'll have since been replaced by a big name from left field, like a Xavi. 2nd, Tottenham. Tottenham, 2nd. Spurs, 2nd. Yes. Relax. There's a club who finished 2nd under Mauricio Pochettino. The guy who everyone is right now calling a joke Chelsea flop. I think Ange Postecoglou, don't forget, someone who also coached within the Manchester City family and structure in Japan. I think he'll put some good fundamentals in place and a pattern of play that will bring Spurs success. I mean, I do think he'll be gone by 2029 though. I mean, he'll be 63 years of age, but Spurs will poach someone else from the Man City family. Girona's 48-year-old manager, Michel, who everybody is sleeping on. To me, he's going to be what Pochettino was 10 years ago. And for Spurs, that is perfect. 1st, Arsenal. With Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp gone, all Mikel Arteta has to do is stay where he is. Keep building, keep ticking away. And I'm sorry, but Arsenal are winning the league title in 2029. Of course they are. Not only that, but they're going to win it by 10 points. Arteta is winning the Premier League title. Just stay where you are. Anyway, that's the video. Let me know what do you think. Let me know, have I got it all wrong? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give a like, share, and subscribe as always. I'll talk to you in a while.